What is Web1, Web2, and Web3? No doubt you must have heard about it or about them, but you don't know what they stand for. Today, that is what I want to explain to you in a very simple, clear, and understandable manner. Like a year ago, I have done a video about this, but in that video, many people still messaged me that I should explain further, and that is why I am doing this video today. So I'm going to explain what Web1 stands for, Web2 as well, and the current Web3. Many of us, particularly we that we are doing crypto, that we are using the most. Now, let's start from Web1. When we talk about Web1, some of us, we don't know what it stands for. Now, Web1 actually started like 1990 till 2000 or thereabouts. Now, when we talk about Web1, it simply means the basic internet where what you can do is to reach. For instance, maybe you go to a newspaper website. What you can do there, you can just read the information on that website. They made those websites not to be interactive, and like a company website where you can read information about company, but you cannot interact. One of the basic characteristic of Web1 is that all you can do, you can only read information in Web1. You cannot reply to the information you are reading. If you remember those websites in 1990 to like 2000, you can go to the internet, news pages, news websites, company pages, and the rest. You read all information about them, but you cannot comment about the information. You cannot post. You cannot create post. You cannot upload video. No feedback. The only way of feeding them back may probably maybe through email, and it is not on that website or the company pages where other people can see and interact with it as well. So when we talk about Web1, those are the website pages and the rest in those days, 1990 to 2000. So that is Web1. Now, when we talk about Web2, Web2 actually started around 2004 till now. And what are Web2? Web2 websites? Now, when we are talking about Web2 are platforms like Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and many other platforms where most of us we are using this time around. And what actually makes this platform different from like a Web1? Now, if you are making use of Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and many other platforms, so on all these platforms that I mentioned, like Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and the rest, now the privilege has been curated, unlike Web1 where you cannot interact. If you are using Facebook this day, you can interact on Facebook, you can post on Facebook, you can like, you can share, you can comment, you can do a lot of things. Whatsoever you are doing, other people can interact with it. So basically, the Web2 platforms are curated to be interactive, unlike Web1. Web1 websites, they are not interactive. You cannot interact together. But Web2, it is made, they are made in such a manner that they are interactive. We can interact with ourselves on Web2. And another striking thing about Web1 is that you cannot earn for your data, for your time that you are expending. But on Web2, currently, you can earn for your interaction, because there are some platforms that if you are interacting on them, you can earn for it. For instance, all this platform where they do their live and the rest, people who are interacting them, there are ways of they can earn from there. Web2 is just like, okay, let me describe Web2 in this manner. It's like you rent a house, you can decorate the house, you can do a lot of things in that house. But remember, that house still belongs to somebody that's they are still controlling it. If they like, they may say, stop. That thing you are doing, you can't do it again. They may decide that, okay, you are going to be evicted from that your house. So it's just like Web2. And there is one of the disadvantages of Web2. Remember, Web1's platforms are not interactive. That is one of the disadvantages. Now, people who are creating this Web1, Web2, Web3, they are considering the limitations. So they discovered that the limitation in Web1, it is basically Web1 platforms are not interactive. Then they created Web2, where you can interact. Nevertheless, there are limitations, particularly for the users. So, like your TikTok account can be banned, it can be shadow banned. They can even bring down your account. Though you are the one that created the account, but remember there is a landlord at the back of the platform that is watching everything and controlling it. So that is the major characteristic of Web2. But we can interact with ourselves. We can do a lot of things. You send message and this and all this messaging application that WhatsApp and the rest, they are part of Web2 because we can interact with ourselves. But they still have control. They have control over those platforms. Now, that is what actually, those limitations, that is what actually brought in Web3. So now, you should understand from the limitation of Web1 and the limitation of Web2, that is why Web3 platforms are being created. Now, let's talk about Web3. When we talk about Web3, those limitations we have in Web1, Web2, they are taken out. And I need to add this. In Web2, your whole privacy is not actually private. For instance, if you want to create your account on certain Web2 platform, they need your KYC. You need to do KYC and they will be able to identify who you are. And this is one of the biggest things in Web3. There is no KYC. So your privacy is private in KYC, in Web3. Since you have understood what Web1 stands for, read-only platforms, and now you understand that on Web2, you can post, you can read, you can interact, but the owner still control everything. The landlord still control everything. Now, that limitations, that is what brought in Web3. So the Web3 concept is built around decentralization. That is, they don't want middlemen. They don't want single entity to be controlling everything. Instead of building Web3, as Web2, Web1 are built on individual or company servers. In Web3, they are built on blockchains that is based on independent computer, which is called nodes. Worldwide, many independent computer interconnected. So that makes it very difficult for any entity to shut it down. So, but when we talk about Web2, Web1, there are companies that are controlling it, like Amazon web servers, like Google Cloud, and many others. But in Web3, the servers are on blockchains and connected with thousands of computers around the world. So nobody can just come that they are going to shut down Web3. So Web3 is all about decentralized. No middlemen, no big company controlling it. You are part of the people that are controlling it. You own it. Your identity is still private in most cases, because when we talk about Web3, it's part of when we talk about decentralization, it's part of identity being private. For instance, some of us that we are into cryptocurrency, most of the social channels or most of the marketplaces where we can trade, particularly in decentralized, I'm not talking about, there are some centralized platforms in there are some centralized platform. I'm not talking about that, but the decentralized per se, you don't need KYC. You can trade there. You can connect the platform with your DApps, that is decentralized applications. All these wallets, maybe your Trust wallet, your Phantom, and the rest, you can connect with that platform and trade. No KYC. So when we talk about Web3, you curate, you own it, you control it, and it is worldwide. No limitation to it. Even if you want to send money or interact, if you want to explore parts of their financial interactions, when we talk about DeFi, that is decentralized finance, we need to mark the word decentralized. That is, the center is actually detached. No center that is controlling everything. So in Web3, there is what they call DeFi, which is decentralized finance. And this decentralized finance, that gives you ample opportunity to control your own finance, your own money, usually in crypto. You can, and it is very fast, unlike what we use in Web3. For instance, maybe you want to receive your money from Facebook, it may take some hours, it may take some days. But in Web3, it is always instant. And this part of decentralized, we have something like Uniswap. We have there are many protocols like Uniswap, like Hey, like Radium, like Pancake, and so many others. So that is another beauty about Web3. Next time, I am going to talk specifically about Web3. Now, before I conclude this video, Web3 or Web3 ecosystem is still developing. There are still limitations to Web3, like complexity or to navigate the DApps, and most users, they find it difficult to explore Web3. That is one of the limitations of Web3, because many people, they don't know how to use Web3, and this is part of what I teach, particularly the DApps of Web3. They look complex to so many people because it's still developing ecosystem. So it is a bit complex for many people to use. Not only that, at peak period, particularly in DeFi, decentralized finance, you need to pay certain fee when you are transacting. Maybe you want to send money, particularly in peak time, you pay higher fee. So all those things are still being solved. So that is part of limitation of Web3 ecosystem, which are still developing. But currently, people are shifting from Web2, which is the one that is ruling now, to Web3. So in my next video, I'm going to talk specifically more about Web3. Thank you.